only one seminar, unfortunately only one, but our goal is very clear. We need to provide no less than 3 presentations. Who is ready to be the first one? Please let me know in our chat.
I think Goose Choose is ready to be the first one.
Okay, so the first one will be Goose Choose. No, Breathe, because Breathe wrote it in the chat as I asked. Okay, Breathe, you're welcome. Give me a second, I will let you to share screen, and Goose Choose, you will be the second. Please follow our rules about the time frames. No more than 15 minutes, and very quick debates.
And about debates, who will be asking the questions?
You will be the first opponent, and the second will be Team Helper Squad. Breathe, are you ready?
Yes, 1 second, sorry. So Valeria, can you start, please? Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, today we are going to talk about cost structures and revenue streams of our potential platform. We don't have exact numbers, exact figures, because it is connected with pretty specific information about works with labs and other companies that we can gather in the internet. So we just will talk about our general plans. So first, the cost structure. The most important is type of Breeze cost structure, value driven. Breeze is less concerned with the cost implications of a particular business model design, and instead we focus on value creation. A value-driven business model is usually characterized by personalized service. We have both a corporate subscription and a physical subscription. The choice among products is personalization with respect to customers. And our cost structure will change, depends on the time, because of introduction new big functions and additionals to our models. So first we'll talk about, 6 months time frame. So here we don't have any significant influence of economics of scale and economics of scope. We have fixed cost. The percentage that is paid for collaboration to clinics, for providing employees, to laboratories for doing tests, and to the environmental agency base for a special database on air condition. Variable costs, salary of medical staff, IT specialists, environmental agency And marketing department. Costs for the delivery of equipment for tests, cost for educational content about respiratory condition, including video making, and the writing content for articles. So that's all. And we go to the revenue streams for 6 months frame.
And now we'll talk about revenue streams in short-term perspective. And first of all, we should say that our app has a great value to people with asthma, COPD, and post-COVID-19 conditions, as it is their daily support and tries to make sure that their diseases does not prevent them from living a normal life. So people will be willing to pay for use of this application. And there are several main revenue streams in our model. The first one is monthly or annual subscription to the application. It implies the possibility of using all the functions of the application without any restrictions, and this is the main revenue stream, and it consists about 45% of all revenue. And the second one is corporate subscription for respiratory clinics to make it easier for them to interact with their patients. And now I will clarify what is the difference between these subscriptions. And our target audience in this case will be clinics specialized in breathing, and basically they will acquire corporate access and give this access to their clients. And not all clinics will buy access to this application. And about people, not all people with diseases of the respiratory system can go to the specialized clinics, so the subscription will be paid for them. They need this application to the same extent as those who are registered in specialized clinic, since the disease require monitoring in any case. And the functions of the application will be able to provide this. Also, people who have not applied to a special clinic need to know about their illness and how to act in a critical situation. And the third revenue stream will be advertising in the free version of this application, and advertising will be specific, which may be useful for people with diseases. For example, advertising for special medical centers or special breathing equipment or other useful applications. And this stream consists about 20% of all revenue. And the first one is manufacture and sale of breathing equipment, but this revenue stream, it is about long perspective, and we'll talk about it later. And Michael will continue.
So next part of our review is 3 years frame. Maintains of our own application. The app will work with a little support, but it will need less investments. Educational content, since we have a database of educational content about respiratory conditions that would be support the relevant information for a long time. With small updates, Bruce will no longer need to spend money on creating videos and writing articles on a large scale. It will be enough to publish articles occasionally. Device for estimating air condition. In the future, we plan to buy our own air condition meters or create or acquire some startups in this sphere. Lower bulk purchase rates for tests. Also, Economists of Scale is logistics system for delivery, and fixed cost, the percentage that is paid for collaboration to clinics for providing employees, to laboratories for doing tests, and to the environmental agency base for special database on air condition, and marketing department. Variable cost, salary of medical staff, IT specialists, environmental agency personnel, and salary to specialists who writes article for educational section. So all main costs.
So yes, and about talking the revenue streams for a long-term perspective, we may talk about the revenue models. For example, we may name two of them which are possible in our case. The first one is the freemium model. Under this statement, we may understand that there will be a free version for partial or in general just functions and limited educational content available for the users. Maybe inability to schedule appointments and consult the doctors via video or audio calls if it is also a study for the further development. And the premium content version will provide access to advanced and full version of premium features. We believe that such model may attract a great amount of new users, newcomers, and it may be beneficial for us. Or the second model is registration and subscription fees, just when we monetize app by charging a one-time registration fee. So the user just pays some amount of money when he or she registers in the app. So both of these revenue models may be used by the same monthly or annual subscriptions, and there is also a possibility of corporate subscription, as Lera said already. And about how we may develop the revenue streams, we also came up with the two ideas. The first one is, for example, implement special equipment for users, which helps to monitor the weather conditions in the area of living. And this will help to prevent seizures and complications in the health condition. In that case, a revenue stream may be a paid premium subscription for such functions. Or another way relates to the highly specialized drugs. That is our app may be a supplier of these kinds of medicine. In that case, we will get a share from these orders. Or we may just be providers of the information of such medicine allocation. In this case, we will find available drugs in the pharmacies and just give a link, like provide the information or promo code for the purchase. And we also will get some shares from these purchases. Yes, and I think it's all. We are ready to answer your questions.
Okay, thank you. Good choose is your first opponent, and the second is Helper Squad. Yes, let's get started.
Okay, so I'll start. And our first question is the following. So, why a value-driven model? So, don't you think that market-driven would be more appropriate? So, otherwise, you risk to face a situation when there are not enough clients who are ready to pay for your services to make your to make you acceptable profits. I'll print it.
Okay, so there are 2 points. Firstly, when we talk about market situation in the sphere, we have to consider that our competitors, it's not like full competitors. We're mostly talking about substitute platforms that can substitute only part of our functions, potential functions. So in this context, we couldn't fully orient our prices and our actions on the on their prices and costs. It's first. The second one, because we provide a product that can that working with health condition, we should understand that the cutting of costs could lead to mistakes that would be more essential than in other cases. So our analytics should be fully prepared. Our technical support should be accurate. So we couldn't go with the other model in this case besides the value driven. And it possesses that if you could substitute our functions, you could have pretty close value with the time, more like time costs maybe, and some inconvenience. But if you have these gains of systems that we talked about on the previous seminar, it's expected to be ready to pay for that. So it's our proposal.
Okay, I can agree with your answer. So in that case, let's just move to the second question. And it's about the ways your company is going to make revenue. So why subscription? So people usually need medical services not so frequently to pay for periods of using, more like several times, I know, a season.
But our app not about medical services, but about some educational stuff or about
yes, and daily control, because chronic disease,
yes.
Specifically like CPO or COPD and asthma, needs daily control, and like a fixed moment of our records. So it's not about occasionally conditions and diseases. It's about chronic process. So monthly subscription is pretty logical in this scheme. We understand that in case of some apps like Yandex Здоровье or like other apps that provide you platform just for communicating with doctors when you can describe your symptoms and get some basic consultation. It's more about eventual events and conditions, but the specificity of our app is daily or is chronic respiratory diseases. That's
okay.
seems logical for us.
So it's more about monitoring. Yes, I get it. Thank you.
Yes, medical tracker that you should make records every time then when you take your medicines, the updates for doctors, the updates with tests. It's more about long-term control.
Yes, okay. So our last question is about educational function of your company. So in one of your slides, you mentioned that educational services are connected with economies of scale. I was thinking a lot about it, but I didn't find any understanding. How does it work?
So at the start, we should create the base, provide general knowledge and create. We would create a lot of content for the promotion, for general content of this part of this of the app, and we understand that the content about 3 conditions that we observe COPD, asthma, and post-COVID-19 conditions. They are. We could have some news about some new research in these spheres, but you couldn't create new content again and again. But new users would still need this content, so we'd talk about this value. So it's still would be relative. Oh no, how it's called? Like it still would be needed by people to be educated in this sphere and educate yourself and their relatives. But we couldn't make it endlessly. We just could update it sometimes due to obvious reasons. So.
But economies of scale, it's a term for a situation when you are increasing your, your output, and for each unit of output, you're getting less and less costs. And in your case, I see that you are going to create content. Okay, it's like fixed costs, and after that, you are not going to have any significant expenses on this field. So it's not about economies of scale.
Yes, it's strange interpretation because we talk about intangible value, and we create some pieces, but we can sell them again and again. So in this case, it's some kind of interpretation that we guess could be, but we understand that it's not fully correspond to this term. But how else we could say that we create some value that we can sell again and again? So it's just to categorize our scheme and our information.
Yes, okay, now I can understand you. So that will be it for Goose Choose questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you for interesting questions.
Yeah, let's move to the question by the Team Helper Squad. Is someone here from this team?
Yes, sure. So we would start, and our first question is, can you please name the financial sources that you will use in the very beginning of the business? For example, where you can get money to create an application, paying salaries at the very beginning, because as we know, when we're planning to make a startup, we need to understand where we can get some money for like the first things.
You need just general categorization. So you need exact names of organizations and investments funds, because in the second case, I couldn't provide anything, and I guess now it's even impossible to talk about this. But in general, I could say that we expect we expect to attract investments from funds that are working with health industry and with medicine industry. As for example, there is European Lung Fund that I've mentioned in previous presentation as our potential partner. Also, it would be nice to get a grant from the government for the health purpose and development, and IT industry because we online platform. So yes.
Probably it's a good idea to think about business angels, because now there are a lot of people who are interested in new products on the market, and it will be a great source, probably, if you think.
What do you mean by the term?
Business angels are people who are ready to
angels.
to help.
I'm sorry, I
Yes.
misheard you. I'm sorry. It's about the mic. It's okay. I understand. Yeah. I see. Maybe because of the amount of needed investments and specifics of the industry, it wasn't my first thought, but yes, it's one of the idea that could be realized. I know that the pretty, not actually same, but pretty close up is developed on the platform of crowdfunding funds now, but as I know, they started this campaign in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, or 2016, and they still don't have any prototype or beta version of their platform or anything else. So it's pretty difficult to release something on this base, maybe, based on their experience. But that's all that I could say.
About the business angel, we should understand that they invest in, so like they are venture capitalists, venture investors, and so they invest in some innovative companies and technological developed companies. So, and as we may understand that now because of the COVID-19, the focus of these investors has changed from, like, for example, IT industry to medicine apps, applications, and something like this. And then yes, it is a good idea to present our project besides above the business angels, and because our app is actually an innovative one and maybe it's really relevant. So your point is yes, very good. Thank you very much for this. And also in that kind, in this way, we may also address to the funds, which may also give finance resources for us.
Okay, thank you. And our next question is like, often there is situation when some companies are not particularly happy to partner with new businesses. For example, like your app in the very beginning, because it's not obvious that you have a lot of audience, for example, and your clients are ready to use businesses which with which you will cooperate. So in this case, do you think that some laboratories will cooperate with you on the free basis?
We don't talk about free basis. We make an agreement where we provide the platform for online booking, like online reservation, and maybe in future delivery system, but not the free use of laboratory is impossible to don't give them payment for their work, and we measure their work in our costs, so we don't talk about the free base of working with labs. It's about business partnerships. Yeah. I misunderstand your question.
No, it's quite okay. You just didn't mention about how will you cooperate with this kind of organizations. So I asked. It's okay.
I thought we mentioned it in our course. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally okay.
It wasn't clear. Okay. So the third question.
One second,
next
please.
Question.
Yes.
Yeah, the third question is how much money for your analysis, or according to your analysis, do you need for the initial launch?
As I mentioned in the start of our presentation, it's impossible to identify the particular figures because it involves closed data about the work with labs and environmental agencies. So yeah, there are many variables that need to be clarified, and information about them are closed. So it's more about the initial stage of communication with these organizations. So on this state of potential planning just for seminar, we couldn't gather this information because we don't have pretty similar apps. We couldn't even analyze their information about their investments because they're pretty different from our plans of launching. So they are not comparable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for attention.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for questions, especially about the economy of scale, because that's all for all other groups that in IT, in creating technological solutions, the definitions of economy of scale doesn't provide any sense, doesn't make any sense. But now we're going to research this issue, understand how does it work in creating and developing IT projects. It means that each next product will make less costs for you, and big venture is more effective than small ventures. Creating big technological solution is more effective than creating smaller one. And how does that work in case of technological gap between your revenues and costs, when you need to invest a lot for creating the product and earn money later? How does the definition of economic scale work in this case? We don't know, and this is very good thing to research further. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. It's well detailed. And let's move to the second one by the team Goose Choose. Your opponent will be Stanis Touch and Breath in this order. Okay.
So today we will cover the topic of financial points. To do this, we try to evaluate our capabilities in the short-term and the long-term periods. We've analyzed what our cost structure will look like and what revenue streams we will have. So let's remind that our service provides information about a variety of goods from different shops. And now we will proceed with the main part of our presentation. Next slide, yes.
So all the following numbers are taken from the financial report of Deal and other competitors like Yandex Market, Sbermarket, and Year Catalog, assuming that our startup is going to have a similar structure, but for several years it is going to be smaller than Deal, at least by 2 times. So all the following numbers are in millions. So we expect that profit will be about 5 millions. Well, I mean, in several years, our revenue about 20 millions and growing because we're a new startup, and for new startups growing revenue, well, maybe this trend is even is even more significant than for big and stable companies. And however, our debt is going to grow as well, because our company will need much funds for launching its activity and for expanding in the first years. So in several years, we guess it might be around 3 millions. Yeah, and one more time, all these numbers are taken from the financial reports of our competitors and adjusted to our understanding of the structure and size of our startup. So there are two main revenue streams of our company, and they are affiliate commission and advertising. So every time a user is sent to a merchant site and he or she makes a purchase, the price comparison site, so such as ours, makes money. Also, we can provide advertisement services for our customers, so for the sellers. As for the type of revenue stream, we believe that these are recurrent revenues, that is, ongoing payments or customer support. In this case, customers are retailers who are most likely to buy ads on a regular basis. We also plan to charge retailers for being placed on our platform. So it's an additional revenue stream. Cost is going to be conducted according to the number of current downloads of our app. Of course, at first it won't be huge funds, but moving forward, it can be a significant revenue stream for our company, but still not the main one. So we take money for placement of a retailer in our app. We get profit, and retailers get customers in case of profitable price lists and offers for customers. Now let's move to cost structure.
So crucial elements of our cost structure are fixed costs such as rent, computers, etc., and variable costs such as electricity and outsource expenses. And we have 4 categories of costs, such as operational costs. It is the price of running IT services on a regular basis, such as negotiations, advertisement, etc. The next one is staff cost. It is all costs associated with hiring, training, and retaining employees. In our case, they will be app developers, product and project managers, etc. The third one, core cost. It is general operating expenses that have no direct relationship to the production. For example, electricity, rent, tables, lunches for employees, and etc. And the last one, capital cost. It is money invested in computers, servers, and etc. Now let's look at these elements in detail. All of the numbers we took from Deal and other competitors' financial reports. So working capital is big because we have more variable costs than fixed ones, around 13 millions. Commercial and managerial expenses grow about 4 millions. So our company is growing. Costs are stable, approximately 15 millions. And our company doesn't have such capital in the usual sense, like some kind of factories, machine tools, etc. We will have an increase in debt at the initial stage, as we will take investments to develop our startup. In the first 2 years, we will invest all our profits back into the development and expansion of the company. But part of money will go to paying the debts. Perhaps we will first have a small business up to 30 people, so we will pay less taxes. Also, our assets will be computers, IT specialists, investors, office or co-working at the first stages, product managers, and etc. Next slide, please.
So now let's talk about benefits and costs in the long term. Last week we talked about our key activities and key resources. Today we pay attention to those that represent a significant expense to our business. First of all, mobile apps, Android and iOS, and website, which are the crucial components of our startup. It requires a lot of money, and app creation and development requires at least 2.2 million rubles in total and involves associated long-term costs such as additional further development of apps, maintaining cloud services, and work of technical support team that are essential for our work. Secondly, our startup cannot exist without everything that falls under this definition of capital: computers, office equipment, hosting for support of our app. And in addition, a large part of the long-term costs is spent on documentation, like certification and different ratings of apps in Google Play Market and App Store. Talking about app creation costs, we should say that a lot of money we need, and it's important to understand that the cost of creating an application design studio includes all the costs that it incurs during the work on the project of the customer. Rent of space, prototyping, design, server and application, testing and publishing, the salaries of employees, which are not limited to developers, testers and designers, and their numbers also includes managers of various departments. However, these costs are one time, whereas salaries for support staff and payments for hosting and cloud services are constant. So we included these numbers in long-term costs. And now let's talk about short-term costs.
So now we proceed to short-term costs that include an organizational, such as salary for management, wages for workers, insurance payments, rental payments, promotion, which includes design of promotional campaigns, marketing campaigns, negotiations, project and product managers, and many others. I know, like call center for users, technical support, loan payments. So the list is big. Since the prices of these services change frequently, we will adapt to the market. So, summing up, the main costs of our company at the initial stage will be directed to the creation of the application. Then our revenue will depend on the quality of our application and of the quality of our services, which we're going to provide through this application. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. A very well detailed analysis. And let's move to the debates. Your opponents is Stylus Touch and Breath, as I said before. Stylus Touch, let me know that you are here.
Yes, we are here. And our first question, which costs in your structure are the largest, and what ways do you see to reduce them and therefore optimize your structure?
Okay, thank you for your question. Give us a minute. Что-нибудь типа variable costs, IT expenses, wages, salaries, and of course promotion.
Ну да. Variable cost это... Господи,
Это наше все.
variable cost это не зарплаты, это какие-то дополнительные расходы.
Variable... А зарплата это разве не variable cost? Они же
Fixed cost.
зарплаты, так типа они же меняются, нет?
Они в short term, но они фиксированные идут.
Ладно, окей. Да. Я тогда начну, если что, дополняй.
Да.
We suppose that our most significant expenses are variable costs, such as advertising expenses, expenses for promotion, for some contracts, and so on.
Yeah, so I can add something about variable costs. We can include here electricity and some payments for office environment and everything that connected to the life in the office and the life of our employees during their work. Like lunches for employees, as we said, and something like that. And also we can include here different materials that we use during marketing campaigns and promotion campaigns.
Okay, I understand. And maybe you have some ideas how to reduce such big costs in future. Maybe something like economy of scale or something like this.
Talking about reducing these variable costs, we can, for example, use different materials in promotion campaigns because it requires a lot of money, as we know. But it is necessary to make a full financial analysis of the certain situation to be able to say how we can reduce these costs. There are a lot of ways to reduce it, but it's hard to talk about it without any numbers and without certain financial report of our company.
So the idea is that at first we have some pretty huge expenses on IT stuff like servers, computers, and app creating. But after that, our cost structure just changes, and now our variable costs are terminating a fixed one, but it doesn't mean that our variable costs are just like enormously high. They are high, but in comparison to fixed costs, it's just it's only the structure of our costs. It's not about being unprofitable company.
Okay, I understand you. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. And our next question is, in your speech about costs, you talk about loan payments. What loans do you plan to take, in what amount, and whose responsibility in your company will it be?
Okay, thank you for your question. Give us a minute, please.
Yeah, I think I can answer, but can you put your question in chat, please? It will be more comfortable for me.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. So talking about loan payments, we suppose that at first stage we will have some team of 5-10 people, for example, and they will be the directors or the managers of our company. So they will be responsible for any management that happens in our company. And about loan payments, we should take the loan for payments for buying computers, different technique equipment, and for our office equipment. We also need money, and it's hard to find the capital for the business or for the startup without any loans and credits. And this is why we should take a loan, and it's hard to imagine any business without any loans, so it's kind of usual situation. And in what amount we should take the loan, and whose responsibility in your company will it be? It's hard to talk about whose responsibility will it be, because the loans are paid from the revenue, and revenue is made by our offers to retailers, as we said in the presentation. So at first stages, we make offers to retailers, and we ask them, so we suggest them to place their shop in our app, and they pay money to us for this, and we get revenue, so we can pay for the loan from this revenue. And it's a responsibility of the whole company, I think, and it's hard to say who is responsible for the certain loan, for the certain payment, because it's not one entrepreneur, it's a whole business. And we should take amount about, we can talk about 2 million rubles, but it's not enough, because 2 million rubles, it's a minimal amount of money that requires for app creation. And the amount of loan, the amount of money depends on the wages and salaries that our workers need, and the range is very big today at the market, and it will be rather huge loan, but certain amount I cannot suggest you now.
So I can a little bit specify about their responsibility. So legally, their responsibility for the loan depends on the form of the organization of the firm, but in many cases, it's the responsibility of the whole firm. But the decisions about loans is made, well, it's again depends on the management structure of the firm, but maybe in our case, for the first time, it will be taken by, I don't know, financial director, so something like that.
Okay, I understand you. Thank you for an answer.
And our last question is about, in your speech, you mentioned the cost of developing an application. So how did you find out how much it's cost to make an application?
It was kind of easy. You can just Google it, and there are a lot of articles in the internet how much money you need to make an application. But it's not all our work. We also made our own investigation, and we have read a lot of articles and financial reports to see what numbers we should say and we should suggest.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all for our questions.
Thank you, my friends. I'm really satisfied by your presentation, especially comparing it with the presentations by first two groups. A lot of details, a lot of costs, a lot of information about real revenues and costs, because it is extremely important to pay this attention right now, to use this information further when we will compare and mix all the blocks of this model together to understand how attractive is your project and what is the future of your ideas of this solution. Okay, thank you so much for the presentation, and we have enough time for the third presentation provided by the team Stylus Touch. Please, my friends, you're welcome, and your opponents will be. Give me a second, I will find this. First team, opponent team will be Breathe, and the second is Stylus Touch. I know, Stylus Touch. Team. The second is Goose Juice.
Думаем вопросы.
But I'm from Team Breath, and we are supposed to be opponents for the last team, Goose Juice, but we didn't say our questions. There were only questions from another team, Stylus Coach, or...
Yes, it's true.
I'm so sorry. And I'm really surprised by the time that we have. Oh my God, we have so much time for making the third presentation. Okay, I'm so sorry, Breath, you're welcome.
Okay, the first question is, you mentioned that at first your business will be small, and what stuff is necessary for the stable work and growth?
If we are talking about app creation, we can you can saw it on the slide. We need about 10 people to make an app. So it's this number includes designers, developers, testers, technical support, and also we need a manager for all this stuff. And during the work of our application, we need also rather big amount of people because we need managers, we need technical supporters, we also need some people who will work in call center for customers to help to solve their problems. And also we need marketing specialists who make offers to retailers and invite other retailers and shops to our app. So the team is rather big and includes different spheres of the business. And it's hard to say about certain numbers because we cannot predict the success of the app. And maybe at the first stage, we will need about 10-15 people to develop the app, and then also we need about 15-20 people maybe to support the working of the application and the support of our customers.
So summing up, we'll need more human capital and we'll need more funds. Well,
Okay,
yes, and with growing of the company, we also will need more people, as you can predict.
I see. Thank you for your answer.
And our next question is, how do you think it is worth introducing a subscription for clients, I mean your users, and how do you think will they be willing to pay for your services and the value that you provide them, it is enough for them?
okay, thank you. Give us a minute.
Я ничего не говорил про подписку, абсолютно. На слайдах тоже ничего нет про подписку.
Well, actually, we didn't mention the subscription as a revenue stream in our presentation. Well, on purpose, because several presentations ago we addressed our main audience as family and elderly people. So, and for this segment, subscription is not a good option. Also, in this sphere, subscription we think doesn't work well. So many of our competitors don't use it. So we don't see any reasons to introduce it. We think that via advertising with commissions will earn much more. Because in the case of our services, subscription is just a psychological barrier. Let's say so.
Just your users of your app will be how to say, save enough money to afford for themselves subscription for your app, because the money that they save using your app are more than price of your subscription.
Yeah, I understand how does the subscription scheme work. I just suppose that subscription is not a good option for our target audience because
Maybe add something.
Yeah. So
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. So you can maybe the app Samokat or Yandex.Market or e-Catalog and something else, maybe a Sber Market. Their applications are free and there is no any subscription there, but these services still make profit from different streams, and our application also will make profits from different streams, but not subscription for our users, because our goal of application is to help our customers to save money. So it's not a good option, as Nikolai said, to make any subscriptions for our app, and we don't see the opportunity to make a subscription, to make a expensive or cheap subscription for our app. And our revenue consists of other streams, not subscriptions.
Okay, I got your idea. And the last question from our own team. What are the ways to reduce costs in the long-term perspective?
Okay, thank you for your question. Give us a minute.
Я не поняла вопрос. Ну, можно дешевое оборудование покупать, либо... А? Оптимизировать. Оптимизировать? Оптимизация вообще-то это не от слова оптимизм, если что, да? Ну ладно, окей. Ну, типа того, да. То есть вместо 2 работников по 60 тысяч нанять одного по 100, и будет экономия. Ответишь? Супер.
Our position is that the main idea is not in reducing costs, well, for our company, but increasing the efficiency of our services. So, for example, we can hire like best IT specialists, best data scientists, and best marketing managers to optimize our working process and make more money with the same expenses. Well, I guess that's our strategy in a long term.
Okay, thank you for your answers.
Okay, thank you. Now it's time for the third presentation by Status Touch. I'm so sorry for interrupting the brief team. Okay, Status Touch, you're welcome. You will have 10 minutes to present and 10 minutes for the debates.
Good afternoon. We are pleased to present to your attention the following part of our analysis. Let's draw attention to the finance that includes cost structure and revenue streams. As for cost, this section of a business model characterizes the expenses incurred by the company when creating a product. According to the cost, we can divide business structures into two classes. The first is cost-driven. This type applies to companies that try to reduce costs as much as possible. The creation of a product offer at a low price, maximum automation of processes. The second is value-driven. This type applies to companies that focus on consumer values. They usually produce products, services of a premium segment with a high degree of relationship with customers. We think that the business structure of stylist is value-driven because it's largely based on the value of a stylish image for the client and not on the cost committed by the stylist during the compilation of the image. However, the business structure of our platform is cost-driven, as we try to reduce costs without losing quality to give our clients the most available way to find their stylist. As for cost, they can be divided into fixed and variable. Fixed cost is the same fixed amount every month, which does not depend on the amount of sales, for example, salary and rent. Variable costs are measured in proportion to the amounts of sales. In case our business model, all our costs are fixed. By referring to additional sources, we also can notice that costs can be connected with economies of scales and saving on combining. Economies of scale occurs during the expansion of production. In our case, it can be sales to target advertising. Saves on combining arises due to a wide range of services. For example, the same marketing tools may support multiple channels. In our case, various stylist services, the online course about style. We can also classify sources of income for the sale of goods. Service fees, subscription fees, rent, licensing, brokerage, advertising, commission. We will analyze cost and income in a short term and a long-term period using these classifications. Let's start from a short-term period that consists of 6 months. As for cost structure, we stress that the main activities that were presented earlier form it: the development and maintenance of a technology platform, strong marketing and hiring of employees. In order to study this aspect in more detail, let us turn to statistical data on the amount of such expenses. The first part of costs is developing the platform. This procedure includes 5 stages: creating a prototype, application, design, and testing. And such costs are one-time. That is, we do not bear this cost every month. Now let's draw attention to each stage and its possible costs. Referring to the internet resource, we indicated that the minimum and maximum cost of performing each stage, on the basis of which we determined the minimum and maximum personal income tax and insurance premiums. The first stage of development is the creation of a prototype. At this stage, the main functions, implementation, technologies used, and so on are determined. A good prototype allows you to release a successful application and reduce development time. This is by a user interface designer. Then the graphic designer comes into play. The development of user interface and the server can take from 200 to 900 hours. That is from 25 to 112 days of work for 8 hours. Next, the application needs to be tested and bug fixed. This is handled by a Q&A engineer or software tester. The second part of cost in this period is the maintenance of a technology platform. Maintenance of a platform can be carried out with the help of programmers. For example, we will have one technical operator who solves clients' questions on the use of a platform, and one programmer in our staff in the first 6 months who will have the skills to work with applications and, if necessary, solve possible problems. Also, our costs includes marketing, where targetologists will do such activities as setting up targeted advertising in Contact, Instagram, YouTube, Yandex, and TikTok, database collection, audience parsing, analysis and optimization of advertising campaigns, control of the budget, cost, and number of conversions. The hiring of employees is also part of the cost. The activities of Stylist Touch will be effective if we have an HR specialist that selects stylists, conflict resolution manager that helps to find a solution to the conflict between the client and the stylist, and chief accountant.
To summarize, we know that minimum outsourcing costs are 146,000. As for maximum outsourcing costs, they are 208,000. Minimum monthly costs are 500 and nearly 7,000. As for maximum monthly costs, they are 700 and nearly 64,000. As for revenue streams, the source of income for our startup is brokerage, because our goal is to connect stylists and clients having a percentage of their cooperation. Consider a situation where we have a certain number of stylists in each month, and we also know their average monthly income. Using the percentage, we can calculate the startup's income. We assumed that the number of stylists would grow while our rate would be 11.5%. The final income that we can get is calculated on the slide. As for a long-term period of 3 years, there will be no drastic changes in the cost structure. It is only necessary to take into account that the costs of developing the platform have already been taken into account in a short period of 6 months. It is also worth taking into account that wage growth and an increase in the number of employees in some vacancies. The growth of the average salary in the Russian Federation is 3.8%. This indicator was taken into account when we calculate the labor costs of employees. Those positions remained. Regarding the maintenance of the platform, we also have the programmer and the technical operator. We will increase the number of operators to assist users in using our application to 2. Since if the number of users increases, it is necessary to respond promptly to their requests for technical support. To increase the effectiveness of marketing, we also plan to increase the number of targetologists in order to improve the promotion of our application among both clients and stylists. The results of salaries are presented with deductions, and all calculations were performed in Excel. Regarding the entire staff, we plan to add such a vacancy as a sales manager in order to communicate with partners, and a quality manager will also appear who controls the quality of services. For example, he or she will monitor the profiles of stylists, their activity, and reviews, if necessary, correct situations. Regarding those positions that have already been in our short time period of 6 months, we will only increase the HR staff to 2 persons.
Also, in the long-term period, as our team grows and becomes more permanent, we may need to rent an office to place at least a part of our team. And after all calculations, we get minimum and maximum monthly costs, which are presented in the slide. As for the source of income for our startup, now it's also a brokerage, and we get 15% of the transaction, which becomes higher compared with the initial stage because the field of activities is quite narrow. The slide shows information about the final month of the 3rd year, and the number of stylists is based on offers of stylistic services on Yandex services. Also, as a result of the development and expansion of our application, we will have partners, beauty salons, photo studios, and other manufacturers in the field of fashion. We plan to conclude an agreement with them in order to post advertising information about the services in our application. So if a client goes to the website, make a purchase or use a promo code from Stylist Touch, we will receive payment from partners for the conversion. Also, when we will form a good base of stylists, we can launch an online course about fashion in cooperation with them. All figures about the online course you may see on the slide. And in our online course, women will be able to learn rules about combining clothes into stylish images, choose the right clothes for their body type, and so on. Our course will have 2 options of membership. simple with all information, homework, and a group chat, and pro version with some additional topics and personal support from stylists. That's all for today. Thanks for your attention, and now we are ready to answer your questions.
Thank you. I would like to see also the results when you summarize all your costs and benefits, because I didn't find it in your slides. Do you have it in the Canvas model, or just detailed information about particular costs?
This result is for a long-term period of 3 years.
If you mean about profit, comparing revenue and costs, we evaluate that in a short period of 6 months, our startup will not bring profit because the costs of the cost of developing platform are quite high, but in a long term of 3 years, we will start to get some profit.
Again, I just would like to see your results in Canvas model, that you will fill those blocks according to the structure of the model, to understand the final period that you will choose. Because yeah, it's a very good idea. Thank you so much for dividing your plans for 2 periods, long term, short term, but we need to combine and to find only one period and to fill your Canvas model according to your analysis. So I just would like to see those data and fill table, but you will make it further in the last seminar. It's not a problem. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's real good. It's real good and good figures. I don't have something to add. Go. Let's move to the debates. Your opponents will be Helper Squad and Goose Juice. And Helper Squad, is someone here?
Yes, we are here.
Yeah.
So our first question would be, why would stylists want to launch a joint project with your app? You said it in your presentation. It's really interesting to hear. What do you think? Why?
Okay, thank you for a question. Maybe I may answer it. I think that it's possible to mention 3 reasons. Firstly, our startup will establish ourselves as a reliable partner for cooperation with stylists. Also, it is strongly necessary that we will have a database of consumers who will be interested in this course and learning information about fashion and style. And also, marketing is entirely our responsibility. That's why the stylist doesn't bear these costs, and it is really beneficial for them. And we think that according to these factors, they will cooperate with us.
Okay, and our next question is, how do you see your further development? We have heard about like making online course, for example, but what do you think? What you can do more to increase your income?
I think I can answer. we think that it's possible to develop different ideas, maybe to attract more popular stylists with a high cost of services, because our income depends on the cost of stylist services. And when we will form the base of interested customers, it's possible to consider the option of charging stylists for registration. Also, brand advertising can also be placed in our application, but it's important to know that we will not promote and encourage customers to make purchases from our partner brands. We will just give some recommendations. That's all our ideas for now.
Okay, it's kind of interesting. And our last question is, does stylish touch affect the formation of the cost of the service?
Thank you for a question. I think I can answer it. Of course, no, because it is entirely the stylist's responsibility. From our side, stylist touch ensure the effective cooperation and act as a generator of the transaction. And we will also solve some conflict situations and problems between stylists and clients.
Thank you for your answers.
Okay, our first question, you named in the list of your employees a conflict manager and an operator to help clients. So, why are they needed? Why are they especially important in the first months of work?
Thank you for your question. I will try explain our ideas. So the duty of the conflict manager will be aimed at solving some problems and maybe disputes between clients and stylists. And as for operator, they will solve customers' problems when they use our application. These positions are strongly important in the first months of work of our application, because users will only start using our application, will only get acquainted with it. So help from our side is strongly important and needed. That's why we are sure that these positions is great for this period.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So, moving to the second one, you said that a significant share of costs in your short period is the development of the platform, right? So, how will you choose your developers?
I guess we will evaluate the maturity of a company or individual entrepreneurs that we might choose to cooperate. Also, we will evaluate the availability of recommendations from startups uh, in the same fields. Also, availability of relevant experience, evidence of company or entrepreneur uh, practical activities, and positive work results. Also, we should evaluate and compare commercial proposals from different developers and choose an appropriate one to to cooperate with.
Okay, I got your idea. And our last question will be, why working with partners, do you think that conversion is a more suitable option than a percentage? I'll print it.
Thank you for a question. As I know, other sales use the strategy of getting percentage from airline companies because it is really easy to capture the purchase of a ticket online. But in our case, it's strongly difficult. That's why conversion is better in this case, and we decided that it would be more effectively show the usefulness of our application for our partners. So clients can go to the partners' beauty salons and something like that without using our promo codes, but at the same time they will learn about our partners from our application. That's why conversion is better for us than taking a percentage.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So that will be it.
Thank you. That's perfect job. Thank you for well-detailed presentations. I would like to say that your team is the best one for today's results, and each team will get 9 for your presentations. According to this time slots, we need to move the last presentation to the next week. Presentation by the team helper squad. My friends, I'm so sorry, but you need to present twice the next week.
It's okay.
Presentation for this day and presentation for next week. Okay, if you have any question, please ask me. If you don't have, I hope that see everyone here next Thursday.
You will send us a new topic, right?
Yeah, I will send you detailed information about the home task tomorrow till the end of the week.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.